What's up? Day 3 of the Prelude painting adventure. I was working all day and just got to Junction City where the race car is stored. So now I've got to go see if I can do a little bit of finish sanding on the primer. So I picked up some supplies that I needed today. Got some sandpaper and a sanding block, and we're going to go see how it goes. It's time to do a little bit of sanding on the panels we painted yesterday and see how they turn out. They turned out pretty orange peely, but I think it's going to be okay. I think that it'll sand down really good and they'll actually turn out pretty darn good. There's definitely orange peel, but honestly, to my eye, it looks pretty good. The coverage is good, it's nice and thick. I think it's going to work out great. Yeah, the hood definitely got the orange peel worse, but again, I really think that this is going to sand down really nice and end up looking really good. It feels great. It already looks better than it did to start, and this is just the primer. So I honestly couldn't be happier. In true form, I'm doing almost everything wrong here. This is the right grit sandpaper, but it's the wrong size for the disc. And it's a stick-on, and the discs we're supposed to be using are Velcro. So, but for proof of concept, this should work. Oh man, that's not half bad. Yeah, you can kind of see, like right here, it's nice and smooth. Here needs to be hit again, but this right here is glass smooth. I think that's going to work just great. So after all that, it turned out pretty good. I honestly think that this car is going to look really good white. Yeah, that's going to look really good. And even with just the primer on it, it already looks about 1,000,000 times better than it did before. So this can only go well. So I haven't made up my mind yet. And I think that if I do this, Ryan will hate it and probably disown me. But I don't know if I want to sand down the primer. Yeah, it's orange peely and it doesn't look perfect, but this is a race car. It doesn't have to be perfect. The whole point of this was to get paint on it so it was one color and to stop the rusting. Honestly, I think it looks really good. We'll see once we're actually in it and doing it. We're going to get the sandpaper and everything because John wants to do his for sure. And I guess I'll just decide while we're doing it. And maybe I end up sanding it, maybe I don't. And maybe I just leave it a little bit orange peely. We do know we're going to get the thinner to put in the primer. So it will shoot better than it did last night. And I think if I just reshoot the hood and the trunk lid, and then we get a little better, and then do the rest of the car, it's probably going to be perfectly fine. And that would save me a whole day of painting. Because rather than having to shoot the primer, let it dry overnight, sand, and then paint, and let it dry overnight, I can do a wet-on-wet application. And then all I have to do is in between, wait for I think it's an hour, and then just shoot the color right over the top of it. And I can have the whole thing primed and painted in one day. I think given that we have time constraints, that's probably the way I'm going to go. But like I said, we'll see. Today is just the beginning of the adventure still, so I guess we'll see what happens.